Hey, what's going on, people? All right, I get the poor connection. That's not a good sign. When I'm on here for 2 seconds and it already says it's a poor connection, that's not good. I turned off my Wi-Fi. I double checked everything. All right, hopefully it works. Let's see. It's always an adventure on Instagram, especially Instagram Live. Hey, hi. So let's see how this goes. It doesn't bode very well though that I've already had it say that it's a bad connection. I've been on here for 2 seconds. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to pop on here, but tonight I am talking with Julia Vega, who is from the Inland Empire in California and is running for Assembly District 40. And I'm excited to speak with them and find out a little bit more about and find out a little bit more about their platform and their goals for promoting defunding the police. Julia, pop on. I think it works easier if you request it from me. So request and I'll get you on here live. I'm so excited to talk to you about this. This is awesome. I love it. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. Give it a second. Here we go. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm pretty good. California's having some crazy wind today, so I have really bad allergies.
Is it
But
Santa Ana
overall,
winds going on out
yeah.
there? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually weirdly used to like them just because it was so strange and different. I'm from Southern California and I actually used to kind of dig it, but I would stay inside. I just like to hear it
Yeah.
whipping around outside.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
It's crazy
thank you
weather.
thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. I'm so excited to talk to you. So we got connected because I was doing another live and you popped on to the chat and let us know what you were up to. And I
Yeah.
immediately was telling Drew, I was like, we should reach out and find out what, if they want to come on and talk more about this, because you're in a unique position and it's good timing. So if you don't mind, introduce yourself and your pronouns and you're running for District 40 in the
Mhm.
Inland Empire, right?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes. So my name is Julia. I am from Redlands, California. I was born and raised in San Bernardino, so just 15 minutes away. I've been in Redlands for 2 years now, and my pronouns are she, her, and I do identify as a queer individual. And I'm running for the delegate position here in my assembly district. And basically what that is basically a representative of the community to assembly members, based on districts. So with the Democratic Party, what they do is that every 2 years they elect 7 self-identified women and 7 individuals that identify other than as self-identified women. So in total, 14 people get elected per assembly district. And we're just basically community advocates that advocate for what our community needs in our assembly district to our assembly member. And this year I really wanted to step up because my assembly member, even though he is a Democrat, he is backed by police unions.
Mm.
And I think that in 2020, we saw a lot of pandering from the Democratic Party, to Black Lives Matter, saying that they stand with Black Lives Matter, that they were ready to create change and that they understood our pain. But a lot of the times with politicians, what they tend to do is pander to an issue and say that they support us and then completely forget about us when it comes to the legislative process. So this year, I myself spent 2 months straight of last year on the streets marching in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, as well as a couple marches for some brown kids that were murdered. And I spent 2 months straight out there. I learned a lot. I saw a lot of passion. I saw a lot of love. I saw that this is a movement, aimed at stopping the murder of our community. And I just really felt like the time to do something was now, and that I could start here in my community by challenging the Democratic Party to do better and to create real legislative change, as well as challenging my assembly member to do better because he is backed by police unions as well. So that's why I'm running, and that's why I have the platform that I have.
That's awesome. And I mean, yes, timing is everything. And, it's all about taking that step from, just sitting and watching or being involved to being like, I'm going to lead this. So what kind of was the impetus for that when you, like, what was that moment sort of when it clicked in your head? Like, I don't just want to be a part of this movement. I actually want to be a leader in this and stand out and actually officially get involved in my community.
Right. So I have dreamed of running for office since I was 10 years old. So it's something that I've always wanted to do, a goal that I've always had. But for the longest time, people told me no. People told me, you can't do that, or don't get involved in that because politics is just, it's a game, it's bullshit. There's no point in really trying to change things. So for a long time, I listened to that. I didn't really have anybody telling me, go for it, do it. We need people, we need women of color, queer people in these spaces. So for a long time, I want to say I let people trample, on my dreams and my aspirations and my hopes. And I think things started changing for me when I got plugged into the community back in 2016 when Bernie Sanders ran. Because when Bernie Sanders ran, it was incredibly powerful for me to see so many people ready for change, and so many people believe the same things that I did, after being told basically all of my life, no, you can't do that. No, you don't fit in that space. So that was kind of the turning point for me. And then I really got involved against police brutality after the murder of Philando Castile. I believe that was in 2016, and it was live streamed on Facebook. And I remember seeing those images and hearing his girlfriend cry, and hearing the baby in the back seat also being a witness to that murder. And I just knew that this was unacceptable. And, just seeing all of these big movements, like with Philando Castile, with Mike Brown, among other names, way too many names that are people that should not have died. I started getting involved slowly. I started, the first step for me was dismantling my own internalized racism, because I wasn't always in the position that I am now. I always let people know, like, I used to be a person that used to say, if they just complied, they wouldn't have died. And once I saw these movements, I started listening more to voices of color, Black voices that were speaking up. And I really, really had to take a deep dive into myself and into my views and dismantle my own racism, and dismantle my ideas about police and what their role is in our communities. And I just started getting informed and started learning, and really decided that this was unacceptable. And since Philando Castile, I've been at demonstrations. I have gone to the California Capitol to advocate for a law that would end qualified immunity for police officers when they do kill somebody. And that's how I have been involved in this movement. But 2020 with COVID and being unemployed, I used to work 3 jobs last year, so my time wasn't really too allowing for me to, I feel, get deeper into the process. But now that I am not currently working, and with the year that we had, I really decided like, hey, my time is now, my moment is now. As you were saying earlier, it really comes down to the right moment. And I
Hmm.
feel like the circumstances right now came together for me to have the time to do this and really dedicate myself to it. So that's kind of how I got started. And I've been in this fight for a good 4 years, and I want to say that 2020 was a really defining year. I met so many activists that were just so awesome, and just really made me believe that a better world is possible, and that community care um, is really the center of our society right now in America, and that we have the capacity to change. You know, we have the intelligence to create new systems and keep evolving and make sure that these tragedies don't happen again. So I think 2020 really just solidified, my time is now, my moment to do this is now.
Yeah, I keep thinking about, the last 4 years and this, everything has sort of devolved during this administration. Um, I think it's made it more clear than ever how important local politics are,
Yeah.
and that it's, that's sort of the infrastructure inside of this larger structure that is going to help protect us, and how that has so much more, I think, it just resonated so much more over the last few years, and especially over this last year, as the government decided to sort of put it on to the local governments to take care of their own
Yeah.
business, and basically left everybody out in the wind. And I think it really makes me excited when I see young people, and especially somebody who's been told, um, especially someone who has been told, oh, you can't do this, or was influenced by negative voices. Like, when I was a kid too, it was like, oh, well, you're a girl, don't worry about this, and don't do, you're not going to do this, and oh, that's fine if you support someone who does this, or marry someone who does this, or whatever. But it wasn't like I was going to go make these changes. Um,
Right.
but I really feel like, seeing younger people getting involved on that level, because that's where you start this career, right? You've been dreaming about this since you were young. Like,
Hmm.
this is that first official step, right? This isn't
Yeah.
where it ends. This is just where it starts.
Yes.
So this is a whole world that you can be a part of and move forward in, and it's really exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the initiative, and I want to do whatever I can to help. I want to totally push this. So my son and daughter-in-law are in La Puente, and my daughter and her boyfriend live in like more central LA. But they have a lot of friends in the area as well, because they grew up um, in like Pasadena area. That's where I raised them, and because I'm from Southern California. But I feel like, anything we can be doing going forward to get the word out and to help get recognition for your platform. If there's anything we can be doing to specifically help in the Inland Empire, which is your district, um, just let me know. And I really feel like this is where it starts. It's all that moment where you just say, I've absolutely, not only have I had enough, like, I'm
Yeah.
going to take this opportunity to devote myself to making change.
Yes.
I, um,
Definitely.
is there anything that you sort of, because a lot of people watch these after we've posted them. We put it on our IGTV, but then we also put it on our YouTube. Um, so I want to make sure that you put all the information on of how to find you, how people can support, and also what you're doing. Like, sort of describe how you can get involved in that, in case there's someone else out there from a different area that's thinking, wait a minute, if that person can do it, I think I want to do it too. And they
Yeah.
want to actually get involved at that level.
Yes. So first of all, I want to say that if you're doubting yourself, in your capability to run for any sort of office, don't. Because this year has really showed us the inadequacy of our elected officials, and some of them pride themselves in having Ivy League education, and just really thinking that that politics can be intellectualized, but as long as you have the heart to change and the heart to serve people, you will learn along the way, just like I have. I wasn't aware of this delegate process until Bernie Sanders was running. And this is actually a very important um, piece of democracy that, doesn't get any mainstream media airtime,
Mm,
or we're just not informed about these elections that are happening. And that's done on purpose,
mhm.
because what's happening here in our area, and I'm pretty sure that nationwide, is that elected officials themselves are building slates. So earlier I mentioned that a total of 14 individuals are allowed to um, are going to be elected to be basically community advocates.
Mhm,
Excuse me. And what elected officials here are doing, our congressmen and our assembly member, they're building slates themselves,
mhm.
and pushing this and sending this out to their supporters. Like, here you go, vote for these 14 people that I myself endorsed. And what that does, it just creates this culture where basically they are furthering their own influence as elected officials
Yep.
instead of allowing the community to choose their advocates, which is completely undemocratic.
Yep.
And this is also something that needs to change, like the bylaws and stuff need to be changed in this process, because only these elections get bigger every year, but sometimes these elections are decided by 50 people,
Yeah.
by 50 votes.
Yeah.
So in these elections, these small local elections, every single vote counts. One vote can be the difference between another 2 years of a centrist delegate that works for a politician
Yeah.
versus a real community advocate that will advocate for their community, even if that goes against the interests of our elected official for this area.
Yeah.
So this is completely undemocratic. It's basically just shutting out the community from being involved in their
Mhm.
community, and just a way that elected officials are furthering their influence. So that's why these elections are so important, especially coming off from such a crazy year that was 2020, where we saw so many systemic failures highlighted, and as well as holding our own officials accountable, um, because so many elected officials within the own Democratic Party, they say one thing but they do another,
Mhm.
and that's unacceptable. And we're just being shut off from this democratic process. Um, and it's really just upsetting, especially from a party who says that they stand with marginalized community, that they say they stand with Black Lives Matter, that they say they stand with the LGBT community, or other number of marginalized communities. And I think that democracy works best when we ourselves, as the people, get involved in this process and tell our elected officials, hey, you can't act like that. Hey, you can't say that. Hey, you need to do this for me because it's affecting your own community. And
Yeah.
these elections happen nationwide, and they happen every 2 years. So my call to action for anybody that is watching this is to get involved in your ADEM elections if you are a registered Democrat. This year we had to request them online because of coronavirus,
Mm.
and that's another added form of just voter suppression, because the internet isn't always accessible to everybody, or some people, they just don't have the time to register for a ballot, or they just don't really care. In my opinion, I think that the Democratic Party should be automatically mailing out these ballots to every registered Democrat in California or whatever state you're from.
Yeah.
so that we have more people involved in these elections. But like I said, this system is specifically designed to keep us out of that process. And it's a form of voter suppression, and it's not right. And it needs to be called out. And we need individuals in there that are willing to call that out. Because when we have delegates that are endorsed by political figures, then you kind of have like a um, they're basically bought out, you know? They're
Well,
gonna
yeah,
do
it's just they're surrounding themselves with a bunch of yes men. Like
yes,
those people aren't going to challenge them. They're going
exactly,
to just back them up on the
exactly.
most granular level, and then it's locked, right?
Yeah,
There's no room for change. There's no
yeah.
possibility of change.
It's just
It's
political favor after
yeah,
political favor. And that's not right. That's not how a democracy should function. That's not how a party should function
yeah,
either. Um, if the Democratic Party is as progressive as they say they are, why aren't they pushing for more bold legislative change? And I think that the time to push for that change is now because Democrats control the House, the Senate, and
yeah,
Biden's coming in, so we will be in control. We'll be the majority
yeah.
um, for a while, and if we don't create these changes that we need, we're just going to further disenfranchise voters. Because if you don't give people something to vote for, if you don't give people something to look forward to, then why should they vote? And that opens up the door for the Republican Party, to gain power again. And
Yeah.
right now, with such a blatant show of white supremacy and racism on behalf of the Republican Party, it's very scary. We are living in a country that is still very far right, is still very racist, and America really doesn't have too much of a leftist movement. It's starting up, where we're advocating for um, paid family leave
Hmm.
and Medicare for all and bold change against climate change. But we need to do it, and we need to be bold. We need to stop being scared that we don't fit into these conversations, because we do, and we
Hmm.
matter, and our community matters. And I just think that, if out there, nobody else is going to do it, then I need to do it. Because while centrist Democrats are having these conversations about how to go about police reform or how to go about just social change, we are dying. My community is dying. I San Bernardino, where I grew up, it's a community that is largely made up of Black and Brown people, and our police department as well is one of the worst in the country.
Yeah.
With one of the worst records. Our sheriff, his name is, I forgot his first name, but his last name is McMahon. He's a racist, and it's just really a shit show. We're San Bernardino is just like a city that is just, I think, engulfed in flames of all of this systemic failure, as well as corruption from our own government. Like the mayor of San Bernardino has been accused of sexual harassment by his own staff and has refused to resign, has refused to step down. And we also have a big homelessness population here that
Hmm.
isn't being addressed. During the coronavirus pandemic, the state itself offered to pay the hotels here in San Bernardino to house homeless officials, homeless individuals, so that they don't expose themselves to coronavirus.
Hmm.
And it was going to be completely paid for by the state, and the county said no, for no other reason than to, like, I really don't understand what their reason was to not want to house the homeless. But the city is just um you can see the systemic failures, you can see the inadequacy of our elected officials, and that's just not right. And I think that the more and more Black and Brown people get involved, the more people that have been disenfranchised and have had to fight for their voices to be heard, the better just system of government that we will have. I personally think that the working class should be in total charge of the government, and that rich people should not. I don't see a reason why rich people should be involved in politics, because all it does is just create this culture of corruption. And it's so widespread in our government and so unaddressed because people are playing politics and want to further their own influence and care about power for themselves instead of power to the people. And I'm just a person that has always grown up with that in mind, that something needs to change. It needs to change now. And if nobody else is going to do it, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to step up. I'm going to challenge these systems of power as a woman of color, as a queer woman, as a first generation American with immigrant parents. I have been disenfranchised in so many different ways and ignored in so many different ways and tried to been systemically erased from these structures. But little do they know that I believe in myself, and I have found my voice. I have found my intelligence because I'm capable. If these Ivy League Ivy League politicians think that they're capable and they're not, we are more than capable as people ourselves.
This is your time, Julia. I can feel it. Like
This
it's
is my
on,
time.
right? Like
It
it's
is.
on.
And
I
and the age of Aquarius just started, and I'm an Aquarius, and it's a time for revolution and it's a time for change. So I really feel like this is my moment to step up.
It's aligned. It's all
Hmm.
aligned. The
Yeah.
time is now.
Yep.
Absolutely. Um, Thank you so much. I mean, you've made so many excellent points, and I really, I really think that anything we can be doing also just, um, if there's any other individuals that you want us to, you know, promote or highlight, um, because this is one of those things where, as we said, it starts on this granular local level. That's how we're going to be able to protect ourselves and our communities. It has to
Yes.
start here, and it starts with each individual person getting involved in any way that they can. But I know that there's probably a lot of people who you know may not necessarily know about this particular avenue. So
Mm.
I'm super thankful that you came on to talk about it. And we will also post information on, I'll have you talk to Drew, but I'd love to post information on how people can get involved and what they look for in order to sign up and become part of this process as well in their local community, since it's nationwide and it's every 2 years. So even if somebody wants to do it now and it isn't quite the right time, you can look forward and start making that plan to doing it during the next cycle.
Yep.
That because 2 years, it's not,
Yeah, it's not a
it's
long time.
definitely doable. You can,
Hmm.
that's it's so often they can start gearing up and make a game plan now to do it in the next one if they can't do it right away. Um, so yeah, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to leave people with? Definitely, where to follow you and how they can keep track of what you're up to and help support you in your journey doing this.
Yes, so you can follow me at Julia48040 here on Instagram. And I just want to leave with a message of letting folks know that each and every single one of us makes democracy work, whether it's through activism, through demonstrations, through taking up space in these organizations, or just working with nonprofits. Each and every one of us collectively makes the country run, and each and every one of us is capable of just achieving great things and challenging the status quo. So don't ever doubt yourself, because there's always a network and a community out there that is willing to embrace you and willing to guide you through these processes. So don't doubt yourself. If you are thinking of running for office, if you want to run for office, just do it. Just do it. The delegate position is a great way to start, because it is a smaller election. So it's not like a big campaign, or like a big bite to chew off
Mm-hmm.
of. And any registered Democrat can apply to be a candidate. So don't doubt yourself. Start at your local levels, get involved with your local organizations, get involved with issues that you care about, and just really just have that humility and that love in your heart to make the world a better place. All of us collectively can make the world a better place, and don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't, or that you are too sensitive for believing that, because we're social creatures. We're meant to love each other. We're meant to interact with each other, and a better world is possible for us. So don't ever let anybody trample on that dream or tell you otherwise.
Ugh, I could not agree with you more. And I am so excited to stay in touch with you and see how, like, keep track of what you're up to as you keep growing and moving in this direction, because I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be amazing. This is
Yes,
definitely your time.
yes. I'm hoping and I'm working and I'm growing. And I'm learning along the way. I did a lot of voter outreach this past week, and it was really fun. I loved it. I loved campaigning, even if it was at a small level. So I definitely think, that as the years go by, I hope to be another AOC in there, because we
Amazing.
definitely need more AOCs. Um, and we're more than capable. We are more than capable.
Oh, yeah. I thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me. Come back anytime.
Oh, thank you.
Keep us posted always on what's going on, and definitely, any information you can send along that we can be passing on to people, so that they can get involved in their community as well, would be awesome.
Yes, definitely. I look forward to working with y'all as well. I am also a youth facilitator for a local LGBT organization, so
Oh,
I'm also
awesome.
involved in that too. Um,
Amazing.
so let's do it. Let's work together and help each other out in whatever way we can, because that's what community is. That's what community looks like.
That's what community is. That's where it
Uh,
starts. Awesome.
mm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.